Welcome back to your podcast, people. Back again this week. I'm joined by the first time co-host, Jarod Wilson's on. How you doing, mate?
Not bad, mate. Thank you for having me.
Mate, thank you for coming on. I was especially saying it's been a bit of a good persuasion for me to get you on here.
You definitely used your salesman technique.
Oh, 100%.
Earlier to get me to come on here.
It took months, but
no, it's good to be on.
Mate, very happy to go on. And we got a big guest this week. He's a kickboxing world champion. Dan Wigelsworth, mate. How you doing, mate? Okay.
Not too bad, how are we? You okay?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for coming down all the way from Liverpool. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Well, so I suppose we could kind of dive straight into it. So, do you want to kind of explain sort of what the discipline your kickboxing sort of is? 'Cause it's slightly different, isn't it, to your traditional?
Yeah, it's sort of sport kickboxing. I do sort of two different styles. So it's freestyle kickboxing, sort of an evolution on karate. So it's a points-based system, and then continuous sport kickboxing, which is like more towards your traditional sort of kickboxing styles, but all above the waist, no leg kicks.
Just boot people for a living. To put it quite nicely. So how long have you kind of been doing it for then? Is it just whole life or?
It started when 6, 7, something like that, so very young. All my life, as far as I can remember.
How did you get into kickboxing? It's one of them things.
It's just something that you, I don't know, fell into. Just
like it's a funny story actually. So obviously, Jarod knows me pretty well and knows how competitive I am. So I was in primary school. I was 6 or 7, like I say, and one of my mates at the time did kickboxing, and he used to come into school, you know, like the show and tell with trophies and whatever. He did kickboxing, and he used to come in with them all the time. And I think I turned around to him one day and said, "Well, I beat you with that."
So it was literally a case of, "Are we better than you?"
So then I started, and here we are, however many years later.
Mental, because you kind of won a lot of championships, hadn't you? So was it all through kind of like your junior levels?
Yeah. So I won. So I sort of won a lot of national titles. Started competing across the world as a junior. Won 3 junior world titles, and now I've got 4 senior world titles now.
It's so casual, isn't it?
It's casual. I think, your most recent one was just back end of last year.
Yeah.
That was in Ireland.
October, in Ireland, yeah. Yes, over in Killarney. It was supposed to be Dublin, but I fought in a huge hotel in Dublin, City West Hotel. Fought there a good few times, but it was supposed to be there, and then the hotel is housing Ukrainian refugees apparently, so it got moved to Killarney. But,
so quality that going all over the world, isn't it? Because, like I say, we know each other quite well. We went to uni together. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to spend 2.5 years with you. But first year of uni, you went over to America for the World Championships.
Fought in Florida, yeah.
That's mental. It's literally like a holiday, like it. That's just a holiday, but you're going out there for one purpose, aren't you, to win?
Yeah, so unfortunately it's not a holiday. Like, it's pretty much just see 4 walls while you're there. Just
constantly in the gym.
Just constantly, you're either in the hotel or you're in the fighting arena, so it's, it sounds... So it's sort of when you say it, because obviously I've fought like a few different places in Europe, America, all over the place. Everyone's always says, "Oh, sounds great," or getting to see the world and all that, and you're not. You might as well be in this room here.
So, like, do you not book some time out after the competition as well?
Sometimes, if you go on long haul, so if you're going to like Florida, for example, I stayed for like 2-3 days after. But normally, to be honest with you, because you do like a sort of however long training camp building up for it, then you compete while you're there, and it sort of all just catches up to you, and you're just absolutely
exhausted.
Completely, like when I was last fighting over in America in Florida, we stayed 2-3 days after, and we'd booked like a couple of the theme parks, obviously in Florida, because we were in Florida. And we went to Universal Studios, and I ended up going back to the hotel early. I had to leave because I was just
cream cracking.
I couldn't do it. Like, I just wanted to go to bed.
I remember I watched Paddy Barry, which is not sort of the same as you, but obviously he's in MMA. But I remember when he said on the podcast, it was like, "Oh yeah, whenever I'm fighting, I just go home and just sleep constantly." he said, it's just what, I can't be asked to goose my bird. And I was like, is that the most Scouse thing you ever heard? So, like, with you moving into, like, sort of the kickboxing and the World Championships, so is it only one person from each country gets to go, or is it like an open event? How does it work?
3 from each country can go. So it's obviously every country has a different qualification system in this, because obviously you've got bigger countries to us, you know. So like I think over in America they have like regional qualifiers, and if you win the regional qualifiers you can then go on to sort of the next stage, and everyone has sort of a different system. But over here it's just done on the national championships. So the national championships is held, it's in March this year, it's early in the year. If you come top 3 in the national championships, you're qualified to go, and then you've got to go to like squad sessions and stuff, the England squad sessions, and then you're sure to go over and compete.
So how does it work then? Because obviously you're saying that the scoring is like a point-based system. Is it like a point-based system to qualify as well, or is it just
it's the same rule, so it's just a national competition. Like I say, there's 2 different styles. There's the point style, which is sort of like 2-3 shots, clean contact, the fight stops, you get a point. It's like 1 point for any sort of punch, 1 point for a kick to the body, 2 points for a kick to the head, 3 points for a jumping kick to the head.
Jumping kick to the head. I bet you got some highlight reels somewhere, haven't you?
So there's that, and then the other style, which is the continuous, is on a 10-9 system, so just same sort of scoring as boxing, and that's obviously done in rounds. So it's all tournament based, sort of like amateur boxing is tournament based. It's the same, it's amateur sport. So say there's 12 people in the weight division, it's done in the tournaments, like knockout rounds. So if you get beat, you're done. So if you win, you advance to the next round, and it goes on. Then the top 3 in the nationals can then go on to fight.
That's quite a
championships.
Brutal knockout system, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, you go through all this time, you train, you diet, everything, and then you.
It's a whole year, isn't it? It's a whole year of your life.
Because it's tournament based as well. The short fights, so like over at the World Championships, the 2-minute round fights.
That's
4 minutes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Because you could have like 5-6 fights in a day.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, that was my next question. Is that like in one day?
Well, there it's like set days. So you'll have like the eliminations one day, and then like you fight more as the days go on. Like, well, you fight less technically, but you could technically go over there. You could fly to America to fight and have 1 2-minute fight, and you're done.
That's mental, innit?
See that, like
the way it is.
It could just all go wrong.
Yeah,
just like that. It all goes wrong, and then that's it.
Yeah, when we were in first year of uni, so I went over to Florida to fight, like we were talking about, and my first fight, I just wasn't switched on at all. This was in the points, like at all wasn't switched on. I was fighting a lad from Puerto Rico, and
how niche.
Yeah. I think about 30 seconds into the fight, I was 6-0 down.
Istanbul, I was going to have to come out here, innit?
I just wasn't switched on at all. Luckily, I managed to bring it back, but that could have been that done for me. Went over to Florida and.
So what, innit? Do you know, with it being an amateur-based sport as well, do you have to pay for all your flights and you pay for everything?
Yeah.
Or?
Generally, you get sponsorships and stuff.
Okay, so it's like grants as well.
Yeah, I generally get sponsored to go now, but yeah, a lot of people do have to pay themselves to go over there, and it's expensive.
That's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot.
Do you think there's more that could be done to help support people? Because do you think that might keep some people out of?
Yeah, of course it does. Generally, you'll find a lot of people sort of, it's becoming more and more so. Like people be high level juniors, like there's high level juniors that I was competing against, and now they're just in full-time jobs, not doing it at all anymore.
Really?
Like just done with it, because you get to 18, 19 or whatever, or older if you've gone to uni or whatever, and you've got to make money,
Of course, yeah.
So if you're working 40, 50 hours a week,
it's very difficult.
Knackered, isn't it? Because you've got a full-time job training, isn't it?
Yeah, so exactly. So unfortunately, a lot of people end up coming out of the sport, or they'll come out of the sport or they'll transition over to MMA or boxing. Or
I suppose there's more money in it, really. Especially now. So do you see a lot of people? Is it more MMA or is it more boxing you see moving to? Is it kind of?
You see a bit of both. I'd say probably more MMA. You do see both though, but yeah, it's tough, you know.
Yeah. Well, the Liverpool fight scene's massive, isn't it, at the moment?
Huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
The MMA scene in Liverpool just took off. It's gone through the roof.
I mean, you've got Adam Cullen, you've got Paddy the Baddie, you've got Molly, and it's thriving, isn't it, at the moment?
Well, I think even as a city in itself, Liverpool's always had quite a
it's always been
even
a fighting
others
city,
Tony Bellew, boxing,
Tony Bellew, the Smith brothers, you know.
Yeah, of course. Well, just won, didn't he, Liam?
Smith, it's always been. It's similar to Manchester, though. Manchester's the same, isn't it? You know, they're very similar cities. You know, it's massive, but it's good.
I say that all the time, like, because I'm not gonna lie. When this podcast started out, it was probably 40% Scouse. I've had quite a lot of Scouts on here, but I've never understood the big rivalry between Manchester and Liverpool.
It's because you're so similar, though, isn't it?
We are so similar.
You're so similar, you don't want to be viewed as the same.
Yeah.
So it's like different.
It's like if, you know, I don't know if you've got any siblings, but if you've got a brother...
Yeah, I got brother and sister.
You clash, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Because you're so similar. I think it's the same. You know, it's so similar.
Obviously, the sport comes into it as well.
Yeah, sport definitely comes into it as well.
The obvious one, isn't it? But, you know, so I've many of arguments for Jarod.
So the time I've known you I'm a United fan. Obviously, you're a Liverpool fan. So one of us had a significantly better time over the last recent years.
Well, I mean, of course, mate, you had a shit show.
Cut that off there now.
I mean, I spoke Man City, so we're flying high. But we're also boring to watch at the moment, so it's kind of swings and roundabouts, really. So it's one of them. But yeah, speaking about being like from Liverpool, then, because Scousers are notoriously known for being proud of the city, aren't they? I'd probably describe them as you're the proudest sort of thing as well. So what's your opinion on kind of like Liverpool? And are you a completely lover, never move away from?
Love it, yeah. Well, obviously I moved to Sheffield for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years when I was at uni, but I can't see myself living anywhere else. Put it that way.
Full time.
Yeah.
That's mental, that, because I never went to uni. Yeah. I kind of had a uni experience by going to, because obviously you in Sheffield, I had mates in Huddersfield, a couple in Liverpool, like all up and down the country, but I never kind of got that moving away. So, does that make you love Liverpool more because you spent time in Sheffield and kind of lived there for a few years?
I think so, yeah. I think so. It's hard to say, really, because I loved it when I went.
Yeah,
and
of course,
I loved it when I came back the same, you know, but I think you used to look forward to going home, you know, for the odd weekend, or, you know, I don't think, obviously you've both visited Liverpool, it's very different, you know.
I love Liverpool.
Yeah, it's a great city, Liverpool. It's a fantastic city, as much as I like to have a joke about it.
It's always nice to joke about it, but
loads of stuff to do.
It is a great city.
A great tourist place, everything.
I always say, anyone that you talk to that's been to Liverpool, that's obviously from elsewhere, they love it. You know, anyone who goes,
of course.
I think a lot of people have like a sort of before they visited opinion of the place, and when they go and see it, it's very different to how they'd imagine it.
It's wrong, yeah. People from Liverpool just generally sound.
Yeah.
The thing I like most about sort of like your northern traditional cities is you can have a joke, can't you?
Yeah.
Like as soon as you hear a Manc accent, you'll get a load of shit, but it's one of them. I mean, I'll say Sports City and they're like, all right, it's all right then. as soon as you mention that, what it used to be, obviously the rivalry's getting a bit more now, but it's never going to be to the stage of United sort of.
No, that's how
it's same with like Leeds and United. Like, Leeds are really big on United, aren't they?
I'd say like when Leeds were not back up in the Prem like they are nowadays, like back down in the Championship. I think we drew them in the Cup one year. Like United.
Jermaine Beckford scored.
Yeah,
scored a fucking great goal. Had a scum shit all.
Yeah,
it's a big chat about it. Very famous chat about it.
You know, everyone's just like, you know, back playing Leeds again. You know, dirty Leeds. They've always had that rivalry between us.
As much as you don't like them, though, but you were glad when they came back up.
See, that's the thing, because then you get to do it. I mean, we play them twice in a week. I think this week.
Coming
up.
That's the thing now. The last thing I want is Everton to go down.
Oh, of course,
I don't want them to go down at all, because no derbies, you know.
It's a weird derby, that, though, because like Liverpool and Everton, it's not like a hostile derby. It's not like a Sunderland Newcastle. Like you tend to get along quite well, don't you?
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say
it's not. Of the city,
they call it the friendly derby, don't they? But it's not friendly.
No, I don't think.
Of course,
I don't think it's a derby.
It's friendly. it's like, you know, it's not quite as tasty as some of the others.
Yeah, I mean, City United is
tasty.
It is quite tasty. I mean, there's not many Mancaxons I in that away end. So where I sit at City, I am in the south stand, so Joe behind the goal. You've got to at the top. Your away fans are literally 5 seats away from me, so it's quality. But
5 seats empty next to you.
Yeah. we'll get that in anyway. See, I'm all right on the empty seats though because I go, so I've got that to fall back on. So, but it's one of them where all the City fans I know and all my mates, we all go. But when you speak to all United fans, none of them go.
Yeah.
Which is
I won't be hands up, I don't.
Yeah, it's mental. It's a weird sort of. I couldn't not go to footy.
I want to.
But you can't. Your waiting list is like 8 years.
The waiting list is 8 years, and the prices of them are pretty ridiculous now. I'll give credit to City. Your season tickets are pretty. Pretty reasonable.
Sell them.
Makes sense.
No, I want to, but it's also time commitments and stuff.
Yeah.
Not personal.
I mean, we've got a very traditional working class fan base, so you have to keep the prices low.
Yeah.
Because you just literally have to. It always has been. But it's a case of now, like, did you see what game was it recently? It was a massive Premier League game. It was when Pep started kicking off in interviews because the atmosphere was shy.
Oh yeah, it was
I can't remember what game it was.
Spurs.
But it was just I think so.
Yeah,
and
it was Spurs, wasn't it?
And it was just like flat. But the prices, it was like 70 quid a ticket.
Well, I saw people on Twitter saying, "Oh, there's still tickets available for City tonight," and then you look at them, it's like 80 quid.
It's
third
a joke.
tier. Not a good seat.
It's shite. And we're a traditional working class club. You need to keep prices low, and that'll get fans in. Like we took we sold out 35k, 40k every single week in Division 1 in Main Road because it was dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's the problem. Obviously, the club selling the tickets at a high price is obviously a big problem, but I think the bigger issue is ticket outs.
Agreed.
They're trying to keep them out, but they're not because I can get a ticket to any Liverpool game that I want really, but I'm going to be paying 200 quid for a ticket.
It's so expensive.
I probably get to 5-6 games a season from like people that I know that have got season tickets and stuff, but other than that, I can get my hands on a ticket, but that ticket's going to cost me 200 quid.
Exactly.
You know.
And it just sets you back, doesn't it? You can't. And then if it's costing you like 100, 150, 200 quid, you're only going to be able to go a couple of games a year, aren't you? Which is just a shit show.
Yeah.
So, but I suppose kind of like the touristy clubs are. Like, I'm not going to lie, City a tourist club now. We are.
Yeah.
We never used to be. We become everything we hated with United, which is so annoying. But
it's what it comes with the territory, though, doesn't it? If you start doing well, fans from around the world are going to start supporting you. You can't stop that, you know. It's the same with every big club in the world, isn't it? You know, with success comes more fans, and then fans aren't just going to be, unfortunately, from where the club is, you know.
Yeah. If you could get rid of one thing out of modern football, what would it be? I've got mine, and it is half and half scarves.
They are shocking.
Why would you have a half and a half scarf?
These light shows that are happening before the game.
Oh my fucking god, the light shows!
I saw it on Twitter, like City tweeting out like, "Get down early for the pre-game light show." I went.
Right, I have never seen a light show. I'm going to stand by this. So me and my mates, we have never seen one light show. It's become a joke in the concourse, where if you have a look where the south stand is, it's half empty because we're still having a pint.
Yeah,
but the light shows is fucking shite. It's awful.
I'd have to be diving, I think.
Oh, is it diving for you?
I think so, yeah. It just pisses me off.
I'll back that.
On both ways, if Liverpool are doing it, pisses me off.
You've got to.
Unfortunately, it's the game now, you know. If you don't do it and the opposition are doing it, you're losing out, aren't you? But
it's awful, isn't it? But
ruining the game.
It is awful. I back that. I hate diving. Like, I just don't get it at all. Like, I don't get why they think they're going to get away with it now.
Yeah.
Especially with VAR. You're just not
going
to, are you? You're literally just making yourself look silly.
Cameras on you at all times when you're on the pitch.
Yeah. What would you do then with diving? Would you just kind of give them bans or?
Just book them straight away.
Book them straight away.
Book them straight away. It's the only way to get rid of it, isn't it? Because if you book them straight away, they're going to be off before they know it, you know. So
we've had some interesting divers in the past. Well, Liverpool have had Luis Suarez. I remember the infamous celebration, don't you? That is...
That was the one influenced Moisey, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's got to be one of the best celebrations I've ever seen. It was so topical and so great. Especially when you just stood there as well.
You stood there like this.
To all the shitty game in the press as well. It's so good. Have you got anything you've been out of football then?
Some people say VAR, but I think we see the bad side of VAR now because I think it still does have some absolute shockers. Yeah. But then before we had it, we missed everything. Yeah. And like the big one that springs out to me is when you played Spurs in the Champions League a few years ago.
Yeah.
When was it Sterling who equalised?
Yeah.
And it ruined it.
Limbs.
It was.
Can I had bruises all over my legs. It was absolute limbs when that goal went in, and then just for it to. But it was funny. I do think VAR brings out the funny side because
it does.
I'm not like a big serious footy fan like some people. Some people cry over a loss. The derby's different, but on the general, I can see the funny side. Like if we go and score a last minute winner, and then they score a minute later. That's funny because they're giving it bigger, and I like being near the away fans because I find it funny. Yeah. But like that was awful.
I think the thing with VAR is when it goes your way, you're all for it. But then as soon as it goes against you, it was like the other week when in the derby, it's a shambolic goal. It went for us, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It's a shambles, but
it's just made me think another one I'd have to get rid of. It's the linesman not putting his flag up when someone's 15 metres offside. Why does the game go on for like 2 minutes when someone is like the distance to the end of the road offside? It pisses me off.
It's pointless, isn't it? Just flag.
And the amount of people you see getting injured in that passage of play when it all could have been stopped 2 minutes ago. It's just a waste of time.
It is a joke, innit? Like, you're just watching it like it's such an obvious thing to do. Your job is to be the ref. Like, just do it. Like, just put your flag up. Yeah. It's so annoying, but yeah, with VAR, it's very hit and miss. It works very good in other sports.
I was going to say, there's a lot of sports that do it a lot better. Yeah. I think rugby do it reasonably better. There's still some problems with rugby there, but
I think VAR's done better in the Champions League than it is in the Prem.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that's more because European refs are better than English refs?
Could be. I never really thought of it that way. Could be, but I just seem to use it a lot less.
Yeah, we do. I think
it's so overused in the league. It just re-referees the game in the league, doesn't it? It doesn't seem to do that in Europe.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Especially when you're looking at some of this. I think the standard officiating in the Prem is awful. It is shite. Yeah. Especially when you see these Champions League games, and usually they're all right. There's not a lot of huge like conscientious sort of like instances that happen nowadays. But in the Prem, there's one every weekend.
I was going to say it's always a talking point.
Liverpool get a few decisions where you're like, Liverpool
had a few. The other week against Wolves. What happened there? The camera weren't working, so they couldn't check it.
Oh, in the FA Cup.
Yeah. Shit show.
And then you got the whole thing.
Exactly.
And the whole thing in the cup was like, oh, if you've only got VAR at Premier League grounds.
Yeah,
don't get that either. It's fine.
You can't have one rule for one game and
Agreed.
one rule for another.
If it's like we're playing someone in League One, just no VAR for the tie. But then it's like, if you've got two Premier League teams, do you have VAR?
Yeah, you need to either have it or you don't.
Yeah, I think just scrap it completely. What's the point in having it in half a game?
It was like, who was it? 2 years ago, and Spurs played Marine.
Yeah.
They played Marine, in Crosby, and imagine VAR there.
Someone just didn't.
Some blokes outside
his bedroom window like this with the camera.
But did you see that when they had that game? They've got round Marine's ground. They've got like numbered sheets around.
Oh yeah,
so you know if the ball goes over. Because if the ball goes over, it lands in someone. So imagine Harry Kane knocking on someone's door. That ball back, please.
I mean, he wouldn't say like that, would he? Because he's not very good at speaking, is he, Harry Kane? Let's go on here. I rate that. It's someone. It's big brain, though.
That's the
it's
thing
big
about
brain.
non-league football, though. It's brilliant.
I love
lower
non-league
league
football.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to Stockport County yesterday. I loved it. It was just fantastic. We played against Tranmere.
Yeah.
So close to you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, actual proper footy fans all there. Yeah. That's quality in it. There's quite a lot of. You've got loads of non-league teams in and around Liverpool.
Non-league in Liverpool is massive.
You've got like Marine, Bootle, It's like actual AFC Liverpool.
Prescott Cables.
Even going down the league, like City or Liverpool was that one. I feel like they play Gloucester.
City, Liverpool, they're the same
play
league.
It's loads of teams. The Sunday league scene's huge.
I was going to say, I think there's been a bit of a reinvigoration of supporting, like, not saying support your local, but like going to your local team and going down to the game, because like people make a day of it. It's like $5 to go and watch your local team.
Exactly.
You get a pint for a £5.
People can't afford 50 quid
to
to
take
so
it.
like,
I want to go watch a game of footy or go down to the Sunday league and
well.
meet people and chat to people.
And it means you can go with your mates who don't support the same team as you, which is perfect, isn't it? Like, there's half of my mates who I've never been to footy with just because they support United. I'd love to. I mean, you can just go to like G&E, can't you? And just enjoy it there. Do you think the form of like social media's like helped invigorate it?
I think
like Dorking Wanderers.
I was gonna say like I don't want to call them YouTube teams, but like social media teams that have garnered a bit of a following.
Obviously, social media with like Sport Bible and sorts of pages like that as
well.
Yeah,
always posting stuff about non-league stories football, and stuff.
You know,
like it's stories of like. Who was it a few years ago? That reserve goalkeeper who had a pie on the bench.
Oh yeah, what was it called?
Stuff like that.
Was it for Sutton United?
Yeah, he had a pie on the bench and he got fined for it or something because he was listed as
he got done for betting as well, didn't he? He bet himself to a pie.
Did you see that one the other day? And Liam Smith, after he knocked Eubank out, was playing Sunday League the next day.
Was he? Cool, lad.
Yeah, it was on Sky Sports. He was playing Sunday League the next day.
Tell you what, he reeks of a centre mid, him, doesn't he? Doesn't he reek of a centre mid? He plays centre mid, doesn't he?
Oh, apparently he plays with I heard him in an interview. He plays for 2 teams and he plays number 9 for one and centre back for the other.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. They were in the cup or something and he was on Sky Sports. He missed a pen and they went out the cup the day after.
You'd shit yourself going up against him though, wouldn't you? 50-50 against Liam Smith. Nah, man, Callum's are watching as well on this production line. I'm like, I'm not getting involved with that. I bet they don't get a lot of shit, do they? That's it. No way. Shall we have a little break, boys? Yeah, I want to dive into music, and because we all have a very similar music taste. So in part 2, I want to dive into kind of music in general, and also kind of obviously Liverpool got a huge iconic sort of music scene as well. But yeah, we'll see you in part 2. Part two, and we are back, people. So we were briefly talking about sort of kickboxing in the break as well. So you co-own your gym at the moment?
Yeah. Partly own it. So we've got 2 gyms, one in Bootle, one in Fazakerley. I own 25% of it basically. I mostly teach full time, mostly at one of the gyms, at the one in Bootle. So.
Mm-hmm. So is it kind of adults only, or is it adults and kids, or is it just a big mix?
Mix. So we start classes from 3.
3?
Yeah.
Fuck it off.
From 3 right the way through to like I think the oldest member's like 68 or something like that.
That's brilliant.
And he's just whacking people's heads. I bet he's well hard as well. I bet he's well hard.
So that's Hurricane Combat Fitness based in Liverpool. If anyone's around that way.
Yeah.
Mental.
So, how is the coaching side of it? Like,
good, I really enjoy it. Obviously, I've done it. I started like helping out with classes and stuff, doing bits of teaching from when I was like 14, 15.
Yeah, you train at the same place, don't you?
Yeah. I've trained there since I was. I think I've trained in that gym since I was 10, 11, something like that.
It's like a second home, that, isn't it? Really.
So started helping out with classes when I was like 14, and then it's just progressed from there basically.
Ever since. Well, is that like a natural sort of progression at moving into coaching? Did you see quite frequently in fighting combat sports?
Yeah, obviously it tends to be generally people sort of end up going into coaching when they retire from fighting. But like we were saying before, with the people moving out of the sport, because obviously it's not funded or anything, it's not a full-time job. A lot of people, what they do is they open their own gyms and they teach full-time along, because it's a career that you can have alongside competing, obviously.
Well, I suppose it allows them to do what they love as well.
Exactly.
You put that much time and effort and dedication to sport, you want to keep doing it. And, you can't always do it yourself, but if you can get other people into it, I imagine it's quite a rewarding thing to be able to do.
It's an enjoyable job, to be honest. You know, it's better than sitting in an office
9 to 5.
Cheers,
Yeah, of course. And also on top of that, like, who's better to train you than a current world champion? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, it's always after, but I mean, if you're currently fighting, you're currently sort of learning yourself. Like, that's probably perfect to learn off, isn't it? Really, as a coach.
Yeah, I'll just be honest. I'd say it isn't. It's not. You know, I think people make the mistake of thinking that if someone's good at something, like for example, if someone's a good footballer or someone's a good boxer or someone's a good or whatever, that it instantly means that they're going to be a good coach.
Yeah,
Completely separate things. You know, you'd only have to look at like some of the best football managers in the world weren't very good players.
You might get the opposite, like the ones who've tried to go into managing and it's not gone that well.
You know, it's very different, but sort of it's a skill to learn, I think, and I enjoy it. So
I was talking about it with my dad recently as well, because I not really about sort of coaching, more about pundits. I don't understand why, because someone's played at a high level, they have to really know what they're talking about. Gabby Bongoho.
Yeah, doesn't have a clue.
Fucking clueless. Absolutely clueless of a man.
Who was it? Was it?
He was criticising Anthony the other night.
It's criticise everyone.
Yeah, cause he was talking about Jurgen Klopp's management at one point. I think he was on TalkSport slating Jurgen Klopp's management.
How do you know what it's like to manage a high level team like that?
Look at what he's won.
Yeah. It's a piss take. And then people like Graham Souness, just because he played at a high level, why is he still there? He makes you have got a couple who are quite knowledgeable, like Thierry Henry's, people like that.
Neville and Carragher.
Neville
Richards.
I think Neville and Carragher are both very good. I think I'm biased, but I think especially Carragher. You know, I think he wasn't the best player in the world. He's just and, you know, sometimes, certainly it's normal to me, but might not be the easiest to listen to for the people. But I think his football knowledge is...
Oh, it's spot on, isn't it?
It's spot on.
He is very, very good. You can tell he's a student of it. He loves it.
Yeah.
Like Monday Night Football. Like when they do that deep dive, before the next game, it's absolutely brilliant. Like
the football nerds, aren't they?
Yeah,
essentially.
To understand the game at that, specific and higher level.
Yeah, but I completely agree. Some of them, just because you're a footballer, it doesn't mean that.
Yeah. It's
you're
pointless.
Gonna be a good pundit. Yes.
It's like, especially with nowadays, the clickbait stuff. Like people are saying the most outrageous things for no reason. Yeah. Like that. Some of the people on TikTok. There's a City fan, right, called Boovy. He's fucking clueless. He does that show with that Chelsea lad, Rory Jennings. And that Lawrence McKenna, that United fan. Oh my god.
That Chelsea one, is that Rory? The one who does my head in. Yeah, he does my head in, that fella.
But you know they don't think that. They're saying it just for clicks, and it's like, it's like headbutting a wall.
It's like is it the Sport Bible one where they have them sit over the other side of the table?
Yes,
agree. Sometimes they get good people on, like they had like Carragher and Keane on, for example, before a United Liverpool game. But then sometimes they'll have like that Rory kid.
Yeah, and you're like, shut up.
Just talk. And what's the fella from Arsenal Fan TV?
Ty.
Oh.
I do quite like Ty though. I just think he's a bit of a likeable guy. He's off his rocker again.
He's just delusional though, isn't he? Like Arsenal are the best team there is, the best team there ever was, and the best team there ever will be, even if they're 17th in the league.
The thing is, Arsenal fans have been through the ringer. They've been through the ringer, to be fair to them. So,
what do you think about like sort of like the fan channels and stuff like that? Because obviously in Liverpool, the Redmen TV there.
Yeah, I like
huge,
that fella. What's his name?
The guy with glasses. Oh, the bigger lad.
The bigger lad.
I've seen the big lad on a few podcasts, and he talks very well.
He does. He's good. I like him. I think, but I'll be honest, I think most of them talk absolute nonsense.
Yeah, most of them are close.
You get the odd one where they are knowledgeable, they know what they're talking about. Then you get the ones that are just
doing it for the
trying to make some clicks.
There's a couple TikTok, because I've got a few TikTok sort of creators that I watch, and they're very knowledgeable football. Like people like Tom Garrett. Do you know who Tom Garrett is?
No.
So he's doing a lot of stuff on pitch side at the moment with like Theo Baker and Reeve, and he just knows the game. Like when he brings certain things up, and I'm like, I've never thought of it like that. But he played at a fairly high level. He played like non-league, but he's just like a classic Brummie lad, and he just knows footy. And he just takes piss out of people and just laughs at them when they're wrong, which I do also quite like.
No, I think you get it with everything though, don't you? Like everyone thinks they're an expert or something.
Yeah.
Who was I was talking to someone was talking to me. We were talking about the Eubank Smith fight, And I'm never going to claim to be some expert in boxing, kickboxing and boxing, separate things, but obviously I know a little bit as opposed to the average person. And I was saying, I think they were asking if I was going out to watch it. I was like, no, because it does my head in. The worst thing you can do is to go out and watch a boxing fight, because
I think
in the pub you have some
jab.
You need to hit him, just hit him.
The word like that, is it?
That was my head in. It's honestly one of my biggest pet peeves. Or like you see them and they're sat there in the chair shadow boxing while the fight's on. It's like moving their head. And I just stop. You've
probably seen the.
I mean, I was very into that because obviously Jack Massey was on here.
Yeah.
And when I was watching a fight, I was sat in my bedroom. I was really fucking into it, like really into it. But I wouldn't go to. I don't really watch sort of big fights at pubs and stuff. I usually just watch them at home for that reason.
I don't get the people who go physically.
Yeah, I nearly went.
Unless you're ringside, I don't see the point. You are basically sitting to watch it on TV in a freezing stadium.
Yeah, and it's like £100 a ticket, isn't it? It's so expensive. It's extortionate.
But I guess you're paying for the atmosphere, aren't you? But
of course, yeah.
I don't really go to many big fights, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I've got the similar thing is I've got tickets for the darts as well.
Yeah,
the same thing. You're just
paying
going
for the darts, isn't it? Yeah,
you're literally paying to watch it on the TV. Listen to Wayne Mardle. That's literally what you're doing. I got a lot of shit for the Eubank fight from people at work because I thought Eubank were going to win. No. And I got a lot of shit from the work lads. The next day they were going on and on and on.
I said from the start, Smith will stop him, and not everyone, because obviously I'm in Liverpool. Everyone wanted Smith to win, but so many people thought that it was sort of a mismatch of a fight. And I think in the build-up, you heard Liam talking, and he said if this fight was at 154, which is Liam's weight class, no one would even question who's going to win. It'd be hands down Liam. He's just, I don't know what happened. Everyone just got it so wrong. You know, I think he's a massively underrated fighter, Liam Smith.
Eubank's just a shit his dad, isn't he? He's not as good as his dad. Which is feel for him. Who do you prefer kind of fighters wise, like Liam or Callum? Who do you prefer out of Smith brothers? For me, it's Callum. I think Callum's mint.
I think
Callum's class.
And
he's entertaining, which always helps as well.
They're very different styles. They're both very good. I like them both, to be honest. I like Stephen as well. Stephen Smith, when he was fighting, I thought his style was very, very good. But I like watching them all, to be honest. I couldn't really choose between them. But I think Liam, especially, I think he's one of the most underrated professional boxers out there. I think his style is so clever, and the way he moves and the way he does things in there. I think it's like small sort of movements and stuff that people won't pick up on. Yeah. I think he's very, very good.
Well, Liverpool fighting scene, as I was saying, is just thriving, isn't it? It's absolutely thriving. We had a few questions in online about sort of kickboxing and stuff like that. So obviously kickboxing is massive in MMA, big part of it. So do you have like a favourite kickboxer in UFC, or do you reckon has been the best? Or
the best is a difficult one. My favourite's Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh, no, he's another one who's interesting. What a character he is.
Yeah, he's he comes from the same sort of background and style. So when you were asking before about the style of kickboxing that I do, that's where he comes from. And people nice. So I don't know if you follow like any Bellator, Michael Venom Page.
No, I don't really follow Bellator really.
But they're from the sort of same, like Raymond Daniels. I don't know if you know Raymond Daniels. They come from the same sort of style as me. Wonderboy, a big fan of. Open to see him win the title one day. Yeah.
So does that kind of make you think about potentially moving into stuff like MMA, or do you just not be arsed learning any of all the disciplines? Because it's mental, innit?
I think it'd be... No, not to say that I definitely would, but now would be too late for me, I think. I'm 24 now. I've never done any wrestling, jiu-jitsu, anything like that. You know, I just get tangled in knots.
Yeah. You know? I was going to ask, like, one of the things that has always stood out is the dedication that's required to do something at the level you do, not just in terms of the physical stuff, you know, the training, the eating, you know, but the mental side of it. Because I imagine there's days where you've had to go to the gym at ungodly hours after being here, there, and everywhere, and you've just got to go and put the work in. So how do you kind of,
like you were saying, like about Paddy before, whatever he said, the post when he gets home from training or whatever. Like it is literally like because obviously when I'm training for like a big event like a World Championships, it's like sort of routine is wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, train till 7, go home, have some food, maybe have like a little sleep, train again like 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon for a couple of hours, go home, have some food, then I'd be back in the gym teaching, coaching all night.
So
I'd coach all night, I'd finish coaching, then I'd train again myself after that late at night, go home,
wake up
literally like I'd get home 9 o'clock at night, like the earliest, and just fall asleep.
You're just knackered, just constantly on the go.
There's mornings when you wake up when you do not want to get up.
Yeah.
What is that thing that you
just
got
sort
to?
of I have to I would sound stupid, but I was doing this thing. There's a fella from Liverpool who's a UFC veteran, Mark Scanlon his name is, and he runs a podcast and stuff, and like gyms, he's all about like mindset and stuff like that. His podcast called the 3% Podcast or something. He has some big guests on there. But something I heard him saying once, and because he's big into, I think like one of the things he says, if you win your morning, you win your day. So he gets up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and starts training, sort of to get a head start on everyone else, sort of thing. And he's, I can't remember where I heard him saying it, but he basically said when he wakes up in the morning, he starts counting down from 10.
I've heard this. You count down from 10 when you hit 1.
Count down in your head from 10. As soon as you hit 1, you've got to be out of bed.
And if you don't, then your brain's kind of... I don't know what... I know exactly what you mean. I can't remember the specifics, but the idea is you like trick your brain.
Yeah.
Like if you don't do that, you've done something.
Yeah.
Well, it's very psychological, isn't it? Because you've got to kind of build yourself up.
That's what that's what I started doing in this last training camp for the World Championships. As soon as the alarm went off to get up, I'd start counting down in 10 from my head, like in my head, and by the time 1, I'd have to be out of bed.
It's interesting though. It's just what I always say. There was a big podcast I listened to. I can't remember what it was. But it was something like, "Oh, how can you have a successful day if you don't make your own bed?"
Yeah.
Do you have little things like that?
It was that Marine fella, wasn't it? In the US Marines, he gave a big speech about how if you make your bed, if the first thing you do in the morning is make your bed, it's setting habits for the day. You know, it's your first like productive thing that you've done in the day, and it just sets habits for the rest of the day.
My girlfriend's awful for alarms. She was setting up. She sets an alarm for like 6:30. Don't get out of bed till 7:30, and she's got an alarm every 10 minutes. And I hate it. I'm a set alarm for 6:50, 6:54. I set 2, but it's always 4 minutes afterwards, and that 4 minutes is I've got 4 minutes on my phone, and then I get up and I go. So otherwise, I'll just sit there all morning.
No, my girlfriend does it where she sets an alarm like 15 minutes before she's got to be up, so then she can have 15
I do
minutes.
this. I account for 2 snoozes, because them 2 snoozes are incredibly satisfying.
If I've got to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, I set 1 alarm for 7 o'clock in the morning, and
you're
I'm up. I can't stand. The last thing I want to do is me sleep be disturbed at 6:30 when I've got to be up at 7. You know,
agreed.
I want to after half hour, you know, and then.
I mean, sleep is the most underrated thing in the world, and I'll stand by it. It's so underrated.
It's like when you were younger as a kid, it was the worst thing in the world.
Was to get sent to bed.
Please send me to bed.
I saw someone post that on Facebook the other day. It was like, can't believe punishment used to be getting sent to bed. Now I think about it all day.
It's good when you've had them long sort of days and you just been knackered, and then you get straight in. And you just get in bed and it's the best feeling in the world. I love watching TV in bed.
Yeah, so do I.
I think it's just, it's class. At the moment, I'm watching Happy Valley every Sunday. Oh, mate, it's the best thing ever, watching that in bed. That's the happiest I've been all week.
I like sticking a podcast on me.
Oh, nice.
And stick a podcast on, or like something about the footy, you know.
Like a
Monday Night
video
Football type thing. Like, rather something where I can just sort of relax and listen to it, as opposed to sit there like concentrating on
something.
So what sort of podcasts do you listen to? Obviously you mentioned the 3% podcast.
Yeah,
what other ones do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan's podcast. You know, it's the classic. Everyone listens to it. You know who's got a good podcast? Tony Bellew.
I see.
It's called.
I don't know.
I think it's done. I'm not sure if it's done with BBC Sounds, but it's called Tony Bellew is Angry. And it's basically about anger and things that make you angry, and he has all sorts of, obviously you imagine the sort of guests he has massive guests on, and they basically talk about what makes them angry.
It was a bit like that Room 101, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
That kind of similar thing, but
yeah.
have you seen
I might listen to that. That sounds like a very good idea. I like Tony Bellew. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah. Paddy Pimlet's just not long started a podcast as well.
Yeah, he got a lot of backlash off his though, didn't he? After having Thingy on Dana White.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got a lot of backlash after that, didn't he?
I saw he's just had GSP on his podcast.
Mental.
He's getting some big guests on, so that's pretty cool. But just anything sports related, basically. Any sorts of.
Are you more towards sort of like factual sort of?
Yeah, just anything.
Analysis,
sports,
discussion, anything.
Peter
like
Crouch's podcast.
Oh, that's a good.
Oh, he's class in it. It's so class.
That's brilliant.
My dear, my dear. He's so good. He's so funny. I saw him at Kasabian at Manchester Arena.
Yeah.
Fucking massive he is. He had a group of a lot of lads and he was massive. I was like, hey, there's Peter Crouch. Can't miss him, can you?
I was going to say, we've mentioned him a few times, I don't know if you'll mind me saying, but he said Paddy Pimblett used to come in after you on one of your training sessions.
Yeah, that's all. I work with Paul Reed, strength and conditioning coach. You just don't know if you've watched any of Paddy's vlogs and stuff.
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
He was on them. So he sort of does. He works with a lot of MMA guys. He does basically runs the training camp, sets out the strength and conditioning, does the weight cut for them.
Yes.
So he's sort of nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach. So I train with a couple of lads that have transitioned over to MMA. So they work with Paul, so I go down and do my strength and conditioning with them.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Liverpool is one of them cities where everyone just seems to know everyone, or everybody's. Yeah. I always think of the ratings line where everyone's got a cousin who's best mates with Alex Turner, and I'm always like, that's the same with Liverpool.
The one in Liverpool is everyone always says everyone's got some sort of link to the Beatles.
What's your link to the Beatles?
See, I'm just going to sound cliche now, but apparently my granddad, the Beatles sang Happy Birthday to him in the cavern.
What the fuck?
Years and years ago, when they were first starting out, you know, in the 60s or whatever, apparently they sang Happy Birthday to him in there, but it just fits into the cliche that everyone has got a link to the Beatles at some form.
Jamie Webb's always has some interesting. So he's been on the Have a Word podcast quite a lot.
Yeah, that's another good one.
I've been a patron for Have a Word for ages. I had Finn on here, luckily.
Yeah.
But I remember Jamie telling a story about when he went to the deep darks of South America.
Yeah.
And he was at a gaff and he turned around and there was a fucking scouser there and he was like, what are you doing here?
Honestly, and anyone from Liverpool will tell you this. You'll see a scouser no matter where you go. You know,
you'll bump into
my mum's recently been to Morocco. She went to Morocco just after Christmas and holiday. She's like, there was 4 Scouse couples in the hotel. and then she was she'd been to New York as well last year. She was on a bike tour around Central Park. She's like, there was another Scouse couple on this bike tour around Central Park.
Small world, isn't it?
Honestly, anywhere you go, you'll see someone from Liverpool.
Well, we briefly mentioned about sort of music, didn't we? Because obviously, mentioning the Beatles, Liverpool probably got one of the most iconic sort of music issues, stuff like that. So you're into your bands, aren't you? Similar to Scarborough. So did you, when you're in your gym, do you sort of mix up your music taste, or is it just literally very indie heavy?
Unfortunately, I just have to put your generic sort of dance music, you know, stuff like that, stuff that people are trained to, you know, can't sort of be rocking, you know, The Cure while people are training. You know, it just doesn't work.
We were having a conversation the other night, about walkouts. You don't really have a walkout with what you do. No. But if you did, what would your song be?
It's a tough one. Do you know what I think would be a cool walkout song? Don't sit down because I've moved your chair.
Oh, I
the Monkeys.
It would be pretty.
I think that'd be a cool walkout song.
Someone walks out talking Monkeys the darts, and I don't know who it is.
See, it's about the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Jack walked out to Arctic Monkeys on his last fight. He walked out to them, but I've always said it'd probably be Jerry Cinnamon Cantor or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a cool one.
I just think it's just classic.
Some of the walkouts are just so iconic.
So, Liam Smith started coming out to This Place by Jamie Webster.
Yeah, same with who else comes out to that? Is it Paddy who comes out to This Place?
No, he comes out.
He's Talking Heads, him, isn't he?
Yeah, Heads or Roll.
Yeah. Who someone comes out to this? It's Molly Molly comes out to this place.
Go out to this place
Yeah,
as well, yeah.
fucking goes off. Tune, absolutely banger. I proper
Jarod
like.
seems to disagree there.
Do you like Jamie Webster?
I don't mind him.
That's a no.
Look, he makes good music, but he's made, he's all right.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. I like him. He makes some very good music. It's just I don't want to say he's ripping off Jerry, but I think he's trying to ride a bit of the whole Jerry.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't
but
want to sound controversial.
I've seen both of them, and they are very different. They are both quite different.
I can't say that I listen to Jamie Webster loads, so I'm not going to try and come to a conclusion. So maybe I've just not given him time of day. But
I think his football stuff has hampered him in other cities. I think a lot of people see it as a barrier.
He said stuff about events that I don't think are very tasteful.
Yeah. But at the same time, he wouldn't be as big as he was if he didn't do the boss nights and all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
He started out, wasn't it?
He's a cult hero in Liverpool. That's like we was discussing. He's doing the waterfront this summer, which you get tickets to,
it's fun,
which is I don't know how many thousand people got with 30k.
But I know it's sold out quick.
That's going to bounce in. That's going to be so good.
If you try putting the same event on in London for him, you won't even get anywhere near it.
He supported the Snuts in
He did
London.
support the Snuts.
Yeah. But he supported the Snuts, and I was like, I saw it, I was like, wow. This is when we just started listening to the Snuts. And Jamie Webster, and he didn't, none of them really knew his songs in London. And it's like whenever he plays in Manchester, it's just full of Scousers or Wolves. Just everywhere you look, straight away.
It's one of them, though, people get, they like who they like. If they're from around their way, they're going to support them.
Yeah,
it's good though, isn't it? I think you see a lot, especially with we were talking before it started out, as much as we hate to think it, Liverpool and Manchester are very similar. I think they're very similar in the way that they support their own. Everyone in Liverpool is behind Jamie Webster, which is great. And I think if you find someone similar in Manchester, everyone in Manchester will be behind them.
Yeah, the ones you think of are Cortinas.
Cortinas,
Blossom's very Stockport. And it's more Stockport, but the whole of Stockport is like right behind sort of Blossom. Yeah. Ricky Hatton's fighters as well. I mean, look at
had massive following from Manchester all over the world, didn't he?
Ricky Hatton's one of them where everybody's got a story about Ricky Hatton. Every City fan has met Ricky Hatton, and it's just you can't not meet him. I was saying this last night. Yeah. You have to go out of your way to not meet him if you're a City fan.
He's very much a not. Well, I don't know him, but he seems like very much a normal.
Yeah, of course
he
just
happens to be one of the best fighters on the planet.
Campbell went to West Hill.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Campbell as well. It's just a small world. What sort of music, what sort of bands are you listening to at the moment?
Got loads of hate from this, but Jarod knows I'm massive into Oasis. I'm huge into Manchester bands, to be honest, like Cortinas, Oasis. I think the Manchester...
Like the Roses, don't we?
Yeah, I love the Roses,
the Smiths,
the Smiths, the Roses, the Who. Just sort of a lot of like sort of 90s.
It's one of them things we bonded over initially.
It was. We've been to see Liam Gallagher a few times together.
We have. Good one at the cricket ground.
Yeah.
A few years ago. That were a bit of a day out.
So
we were in Courtyard.
Yeah.
Which is a bar in Manchester, quality place. For about 12 o'clock, I want to say.
We were there fucking early.
Near your house
in
my house
before that. You came over from Liverpool that morning, you dropped your bags and we were back out the door. And we went down to the cricket ground, all day affair.
Yeah, it was good.
You went home and we went 42.
Yeah, I know, I'm so happy I went home. That was a fucking great decision from me. My hair was grim. My hair was
a quality day out.
I stunk. And I just felt grim.
Brilliant day.
Good day though.
What are the best sort of gigs you've been to then? Would you say that Liam Gallagher?
That Liam Gallagher one was well up there. I went to Leeds Festival in 2017. Eminem was headlining.
I went there. We were there.
That was unbelievable. The year before that, 2016, Chili Peppers were.
We were there as well. They're the two Leeds Fest that we've done.
Yeah, me too. That was a good one. All the Liam Gallagher ones that I've been to, class. Two Door Cinema Club.
That quality.
You love Two Door, don't you? Properly rate Two Door.
We went out to Monkeys a few years ago in Sheffield.
That was
class. Mega, isn't it?
I'm very much looking forward to seeing Jamie Webster in Liverpool.
Mate, you'll love it. Yeah. He's very good, and he'll have some good support as well because he's got quite a lot of mates in the scene as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have some good supports, definitely. I think you've been to probably more gigs than me. So who your sort of like top gigs? Every gig has ever been.
Liam at the cricket ground were good. When we saw Kasabian a few years ago at Manchester
Arena.
I think that was about 2017.
It was fucking class, mate. That was shit up, wasn't it?
Me and my mum went to see Paul Weller, who was the lead singer
nice.
of the Jam.
And Jackie Abbott?
No, he was Paul Heaton.
Oh, Paul Heaton, sorry.
No, Paul Weller was lead singer of the Jam. My mum loves the Jam, so we got tickets for a birthday. And that was over in Halifax.
Nice.
It was in like this, I don't know what it was, I think it was like an old courtyard. So it was like this square with a stage in the middle, like loads of seats and stuff, proper nice place. I think it's called the Peace Hall.
Oh, nice.
They've got a few more on, I think they've got like UB40 this summer.
That'd be class. Chilling to Red Red Wine, it'd be so good.
It was just such a nice venue that I said, like, if it was ever someone even remotely wanted to see, because they get like, I don't want to call them like,
more like nostalgia sort of.
Yeah, like people who, you know, they've been around for a long time and they're probably on the decline. I think they've got, you know, Sting from the Police doing it. So like, for a lot of people, like bucket list ones. Yeah. Bit different from what our, you know, bucket list would be. But
So you do was very good. It was when we went to the cricket ground, Richard Ashcroft.
He's class.
I saw him.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I agree massively. Really like Richard Ashcroft. I think he's class. He's a kind of a step above. There's a few bands who I think are a bit shit who always seem to get this support in. Charlatans being one. I think Charlatans are wank. I just think they're boring. I just think they're boring. But like, Richard Ashcroft was class. I'm excited for Kasabian in London as well.
We're going down to London next month.
We're watching the Snuts and the K's are there as well.
We haven't figured out the specifics, but tickets are bought, so we'll figure out the rest.
Have you listened to the K's?
No.
I'd recommend the K's. Yeah. They're real. They're on the up at the moment, and they are. The lead singer can sing. Yeah. He's shit hot.
You brought it up briefly, but Oasis. Yeah. And there have been more and more murmurings of the years gone on of will they ever do it? You know, Noel and Liam both seem to slightly think about it.
Liam more so than Noel, I think.
Yeah. Because obviously they both got outstanding solo careers with, you know, with Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds and what Liam's done as a solo artist. But if they ever did it, how much would you be willing to pay for a ticket?
Oh, I'd easily go upwards of 250, 300 quid. I pay for that.
Easy drop 500 quid on it.
Yeah,
because I think it'd be one of the most anticipated. Yeah. Not anticipated, most in
But
demand.
where would they do it?
You'd reckon they'd do Nebworth or. But
I'm not going to go there. Shit show, innit?
Yeah, because we went to. He did the Etihad last summer, just gone, and we had tickets for Nebworth, all of us.
Yeah, we sold them.
We binned them off because, from all accounts, Nebworth is an absolute nightmare to get.
Shit show, innit? It is a shit show.
It's in the middle of nowhere. Apparently, you could camp or you could try and get a train home, and then there wasn't any.
Here's one for you with the headline Glastonbury.
Oh.
So they won't get enough money for it though.
No, that would annoy me though, because we wouldn't be able to go.
A ticket.
For fuck's sake. But I think if they did come back, I think it would be they'd headline a festival and then do like 5 or 6 nights somewhere. I reckon they'd do that. Probably in Nebworth sort of area.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I'm not holding out hope. But we discussed briefly as well about prices for them. Like, they're getting ridiculous now.
Yeah. No joke, aren't they?
And like we mentioned it briefly with ticket touts for football. Like music's even worse.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like, I saw people. It's obviously not our music, but like big ones like Harry Styles, Taylor Swift. Not only are the tickets like 3 figures flat, touts are flogging them for like thousands.
Thousands. It's announced the tour, hasn't she? Beyonce.
Oh my god, that's going to be a nightmare, innit?
We're going for like a Drake as well. When Drake last toured, I remember seeing something about the price of the tickets. Ridiculous.
I say one of the things I don't like. I think more and more, I don't call them kind of artists, but they've started doing separate tickets for where you're allowed to go if you're standing.
Yeah.
So you know, like when we've been to when we've been to a cricket ground, it's got like the stage, then it's got like a circle, and then the rest of you. And if you're like one of the first 20,000 people to go up to that front bit, get a wristband, you could go in. But they started doing it now where you can pay significantly more to just get into that. And I think Harry Styles did it, and obviously because he can, he had like even more. So like it had like the stage coming out, and then it branched off, and you could stand like in between like the offshoot of the stage, like fetching ridiculous money for him. And I know he can do it. He's Harry Styles. He's gonna sell them.
Yeah.
I do think he's.
I'd like to see Harry Styles live. I think Harry Styles is class.
Yeah. I think he's quality. Good. I think he's very good. But I think
but he's a good pint as well. I bet he'd be a good person to have a pint with.
Do you know what I always think would be a class person to have a pint with? Ed Sheeran.
Oh yes, agreed.
Yeah, he seems alright. Ed.
Yeah. Mine's John Stones as well. I say it's a lot, but I love John Stones.
I'd love to have a pint with Andy Robertson.
Oh, Robbo, bet he's got some fucking stories in.
That would be unbelievable to go out drinking with.
Imagine him and Pickford.
How many scraps you having before the end of that night?
I mean, you'd be safe, wouldn't you? Well, that was class. Really enjoyed that, boys. We'll wrap it up there. Shout out your gym, please.
Yeah, Hurricane Combat and Fitness. Instagram, Facebook. It's literally that's the name. Hurricane Combat and Fitness on both. Just have a look if you're in the area. Get yourselves down.
Definitely will. It will be all linked in the description anyway, as well, and also your personal page. Just Daniel Wigelsworth.
Yeah, I think it's Daniel Wig _98 or something on Instagram.
Yeah. It'll all be linked down below anyway. But thank you for coming on. Really enjoyed that.
It was a pleasure.
It was class. And thank you, Jarod, as well, coming on for your first time.
Absolute pleasure.
I'm very, very glad you. Definitely not. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. Show Dan some love and show Hurricane Combat Fitness some love as well. Do us a big favour coming down. And we shall see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.